Okay, so in this section of the course we've covered two of the exam objectives with the 101.2 and the 101.3 because they were closely related. So we started off by looking at the boot process from power on to the login prompt. So you saw how we did the power on self-test, how then the master boot record or GPT would kick in. And then it would basically find the bootloader, which is either Lilo, Grub, Legacy, or Grub2. Then the kernel and init RAM FS kicks in. The init RAM FS is the, I guess, a lot of the default drivers required for getting the system to boot up. Then, depending on the type of system, you have init, upstart, or system D to load the services depending on the run level or the boot target, and then you obviously get the login prompt. So for a system V init system, or just init, the /etc/init tab is where you set the default run level. The chk config allows you to turn services on or off for the different run levels. The service command allows you to stop, start, or get status on the different services. Then you have tell init to change run levels, and the run level command will tell you what run level you're in. So for a system D system, you saw how systemctl controls pretty much everything. And you saw how systemctl get-default will show you what the default run level is. You saw how systemctl set-default and then a target will set the default target. You saw how you could use systemctl with enable or disable and then a service name to enable or disable a service from booting or to loading on boot. You saw how you had the systemctl where you could use status, start, stop, restart, and then the service name to start or stop a service or get a status on it. And you saw that in a systemd system to change the target that you're in, you use the systemctl space isolate space the target name that you want to switch to, which would be multi-user.target or graphical.target or rescue.target to change between the run levels. You also saw how you could use the systemd-analyze command to give you a summary of how long the system took to boot, or the systemd-analyze space blame to see an overview of how long each individual service took to boot. Then we looked at the dmessage command, which shows you all the messages that's in the kernel ring buffer. You saw how a -c would display the ring buffer and then clear it, or a C would clear it without displaying the messages. You saw how a -H made human readable output come to the screen, and it gave you some nice colorization and human friendly times. And you saw how you could use dmessage-w to wait for new kernel messages or new messages to go into dmessage, and it would just sit there and just show them as they popped up. Then we went and looked at how you could shut down the system with the shutdown command, so shutdown -H to halt it, or you can use P for power off, but -H does the same thing. You saw how -R would reboot the system. And with the shutdown command, you saw that you need shutdown -R or -H space a time, so you could use now or +1 for 1 minute. And then you could optionally add double inverted commas at the end with a message to display to all the users in the terminal windows. You also saw how you could use the wall command by itself to display messages across the system if you were going to change run levels or targets. And you also saw how you could use the reboot or the power off command to reboot the system as well, but I explained that shutdown is the preferred command. Now, we haven't really looked at the different kernel boot options. It did briefly mention that in these objectives, but I'm going to cover that when we are looking at Grub in another objective, and I'll actually go in and I'll actually even show you how to boot into rescue mode or single user mode, and actually change the default, change the root password if you don't know what the root password is. But I'll do that in the section on Grub. So we've covered everything for these two objectives, other than some of the common boot options that you can use for the kernel, which will be covered somewhere else. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can go to my website, anthonyirwin.com, and you'll get basically a nice way to browse the course and follow the course and save your progress, do quizzes and all sorts of nice things like that, as well as see whatever content I have created. So if you're enjoying this course so far, check out anthonyirwin.com. Okay.